started, you wouldn't believe what the campus looked like. Just a handful of buildings.
It was not very big then, like it is now. It was not very big.
Smaller, tighter community. And I didn't know everybody, but I knew a lot of them, and you could know them.
The campus was much smaller at that time than what it is now. And they were going through rather large building projects and things.
The campus has changed considerably since when I was a freshman played tennis. I played tennis on a court. It's right over by McAfee. Somewhere I kind of lose perspective, but I think maybe where the Union is now.
I think it's changed in a couple of ways. I think in some ways it maybe has gotten a little larger in terms of the number of community groups and bands and organizations that participate, let's say, in the homecoming parade.
Town to go to the parade when homecoming's here, and to the celebrations, the games. I mean, just the normal change that any town would have as it grows, but I think it's continues to be positive.
I think we have a beautiful campus and beautiful grounds.
What's the most important about it? I think they take care of the students pretty well. More than
The history, in a very interesting way. I mean, we've had lots of really interesting people. Burl Ives, for one, at EIU, that went on and didn't really forget Charleston, or probably don't even know who Burl Ives are.
It was an active campus all year long, which made it interesting. And it was moving, and there were changes going on. So
one way, we had ours. Of course, everybody did on campus. And another thing, it was much prettier than it is now because they've divided it up so much. The stairway up is still, they have restored that, thank goodness, because after I was there, they painted it, and then they got it back to the natural. But they had hardwood floors when we were there. We had a sink in our room and a mirror and so forth, which they've since taken out, and they've put tile floors down. And Pem Hall had a lot of traditions. I mean, we ate there 3 meals a day. On Saturday, Sunday, all of them, except in the morning you went down on your own and got your breakfast in your robe if you wanted to.
Years ago, when my children were much younger, we used to go down at Halloween. They had a big Halloween event, special event at Pem Hall, where you go in and they would tell the story of Mary, and it was, there was this disembodied figure sitting over in the corner playing a piano. Usually, they had stage or theater lighting on them, magenta or some spooky color, and then you would slowly wind your way upstairs, and they would end up with someone bursting through a door and scaring everyone. I can remember having college girls, they didn't know who I was from Uncle, but just reaching out and grabbing a hold of me.
I know another thing, Pem Hall was always tradition. It was Christmas time, and the girls would stand on the stairway all the way up, circle it. When they came in, they always caroled. Oh yes, they couldn't go to the rooms, never, ever, ever. Except my brother was able to carry luggage up when you had to yell, man on second or man on third, I
would come over here in the early 70s to observe the kids streaking was a popular
Oh, yeah.
pastime. I remember, I didn't come over, of course.
Oh,
I
no,
didn't
no,
want to
no,
see
no,
him.
no.
But my son did, he reported back to me what happened.
That was
And
in
some of
71.
the sports, yeah, some of the state, in front of the stadium, I think.
In
right?
fact, that thing got started on March 4th. Why do we know this? Because it was extremely warm at that time, and the kids then were stripping off, and there was many, according to the newspaper at the time, there were as many as 100 to 150 of them. Can you imagine streaking?
Just running
And what's strange about it, it started very quickly, as I remember. and
Yes,
was
it
over in
did,
no
just
time.
because of that early warm weather that
In
came
short,
in.
it was over with and all forgotten about.
Well, I think spring vacation's what killed it.
He was a campus dog. He was quite old when I came here, as a matter of fact. But you'd see him moseying around the campus and such. But Dr. Dowden usually had a big faculty meeting once or twice a year, something like that. And it would usually be held in what is now McAfee Gym. At that time that was known as Lance Gym. And he would always speak from the stage up there. And of course Napoleon, for some reason, always had some kind of an intuition about him, I guess, that he knew that something was going on, so he'd go moseying around there, and he'd go in with the faculty members and such. But he would go right up on the stage. He'd usually walk around a time or two, curl up, lie down, and I know that Dr. Dowd a number of times said he would joke about it and say, well, Napoleon's comfortable now, so we'll get started.
Main, although we never call it what its real name is, which is the Livingston C. Lord Administration Building, all really have, I think all of those have real distinct role and purpose on campus at the university.
The textbook library now after Professor Grotto. Oh, he was really very energetic. Louis, as he was called, was on quite a few committees and was a vigorous spokesman for.
They named after the lab school and now the School of Education. Obviously, the president.
The library was the first one that was actually named after somebody who was, she had retired by the time they actually built the building. And so they probably wouldn't have named it after her had she still been working here. But because she'd already retired, they sort of were setting a new precedent by naming a building after somebody who was still alive who contributed to history.
I think everyone was pleased when they named the library after Ms. Booth. She had such a following among faculty and students here for years. On the occasion of Dr. King's assassination, then there was a strong movement by students and supported by many faculty that perhaps this would be a fitting tribute to Dr. King to name the union in memory of Dr. King.
He was also an athlete, and so he was the captain of the 1916 football team. He was also the class president. And, so he was a prominent student figure on campus while he was here. and then he went off to World War I, graduated and went off to World War I and got killed. The class of 1916 had donated gates to the football field. And so in 1917 or 18, they don't think they formally actually named them after Schahrer, but they became known as the Schahrer Gates because they were the gates of the football to the Schahrer football field.
We have to sort of find our own little spot in history as far as universities are concerned. And it seems to me that maybe teacher education is one of those that we probably should hold as very important to the university.
The education isn't limited just to the students going there. I mean, I think we all learn. And from the programs they have there, the people that we have, the speakers that we have there, I see it only continuing.
History is relevant to what you know and to what is going on, and it submerged. You know, it may reappear later, you don't know.